Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. As you can see, we're back at it again with the 1968 Pontiac Firebird, and today I'm going to be going over my winterization process. So I know this is just my basic opinion. I've looked up some ideas, and if you guys own any classic cars or other muscle cars, antiques, let me know what your guys' process is, because I'm always willing to learn new methods to preserve my Firebird for as long as I can, and make sure that when we go back in the spring to fire her up for the first time, we're getting a nice positive start. So my process, first thing I'll do is I will start with a quick wash, then we'll move on to some wheel cleaning, vacuuming, and just making sure the overall interior is nice and clean. When we go to put her away for the season, we want to make sure that we have a nice clean car waiting for us in the spring. Now when it comes to actually washing the car, it's currently 30 degrees outside, and thank God I washed her the past time I took her out. So we only have just like a light coating of dust on it right now. So I will use the Chemical Guys quick wash. It's basically just spray on, wipe off, and you have a nice clean surface. I'll also be using their wheel cleaner just because I like their stuff. Step 2, after we get the entire car clean, because we want to start with a clean car when we go to fire her up in the spring, we'll want to put Stable in the gas tank and fill the tank up all the way. So I know that the leading cause of moisture in the gas tank is basically just having air space sitting in there, and plus we don't want to have bad fuel sitting in the winter time. That way when we go in the spring to start her up, we're starting with bad fuel. So what we'll go ahead and do is put Stable in the car, take it to the gas station, fill it up. I have pretty much almost a full tank right now, so we should be okay with putting the Stable in now. We shouldn't be ruining anything. Then we'll let that run through the system. On our drive back to the house, we'll be good. Then what we'll do is change the oil, change the filter. I've learned that you probably should, when you're having the engine sit for a long period of time, might as well have it be sitting with clean oil. Once again, that's just one less thing you have to worry about. Come springtime, all you have to do is hop in, turn the key, and go. But also, if there are any particles, any dirt, we don't want to leave a dirty engine sitting, so we'll go ahead and get that drained out and filled right back up. Then we will rotate our tires. As I mentioned in my intro video before, our rear tires are larger than our fronts, so we can't do a traditional rotation. We'll actually just swap left and right, both the front and the rears, so that way at least it's just a new tire on either side. Then we will take the battery out, put the car on jack stands, and then make sure that our tires are inflated to proper temperature. Pressure, I mean. So we'll get started. Okay guys, so first thing we're gonna want to do is add some Stable into our gas tank. So my tank's pretty full. I have more than 3/4 of a tank, probably only used about 1/8 so far. But we'll go ahead and add this guy in, then make a trip to the gas station, fill up that last little bit, and in the time that it takes me to drive there and come back, we'll have run the Stable through the system for at least 5 minutes. And that's what the instructions recommend. So to make sure that the chemical gets through your entire fuel system, you want to have your car running for a little bit. So the instructions say that 1 ounce treats up to 2.5 gallons. I have a 12-gallon tank, so for 12.5 gallons, I'll need 5 ounces. So what you'll do is take this top off, squeeze this guy, do it 5 times, and then pour it into your gas tank. Well, there are 2 words that I would use to describe that drive. 1 being cold, and 2 being unhappy. She was not liking driving in 30-degree weather, I will say that. So, good thing that was the last ride of the season. We got our gas, got our Stable going through the system, which is really nice. So, now let's tackle some of the other things. So, back from the gas station, we have a full tank of gas, fuel is nice and stabilized, and more importantly, despite how cold it is outside, we have nice hot engine oil, so hopefully that will drain fairly quickly. So in order to drain the oil, you'll need a 10-quart drain pan. So the car, let me backtrack a little bit. The oil that I run every year is this Lucas oil, hot rod, and classic car oil. Use a 10W30 blend, high zinc. So I know for these classic cars we need some of that extra zinc in order to protect some of our internal components. I know there are a couple of companies that make zinc, high zinc content oil, as well as you can run a regular blend of oil, common nowadays, and just add a zinc additive, but I like to use this stuff. I'll put a link on Amazon. It says that the engine takes about 5 quarts of oil, but I found that about 5.5 quarts will fill it up to where the dipstick is nice and full. So we'll go ahead, we have that. I also forgot to mention oil filter. So we are using a Purolator L25288. I know probably better filters out there. Everyone has their own opinion on who makes the best oil filter and how to spend your money on those guys, but I found that this guy works best. There are a couple of different oil filters that fit on here. This is one of the shorter oil filters for this engine, and you'll see that it's very evident we need the shorter filter because when we go to change this guy, our headers are almost right up against the filter itself. So we need to maximize as much space as we can. So let's go grab our wrenches and get underneath the car. Also, make sure that you chalk off the back wheels or the front wheels, just so that way while you're underneath, nothing is going to roll back on you. So underneath the driver's side of the car, we can see our oil pan right up there and the drain bolt right there. And all we need to do is take our 1/2-inch drive wrench and then break out the 7/8 size socket, and you can actually undo the oil while the car is on the ground. Not so much with the oil filter, but I like to keep the car on the ground as much as I can if I can help it. So we'll go ahead and undo the oil drain bolt. So as you guys can see, as great as they are for sound, our headers really do get in the way with this oil drain pan being here. So let me go ahead, move this guy really quick. We will undo the bolt right here. And we'll undo the breather at the top as well, just to get a little bit faster flow. So we'll go ahead, clean this up, and get our bolt back in place. Get the bolt started in. If I can feel it going in. Yep. Nothing here. And we'll go ahead and torque this guy down to 22 foot-pounds. Now for the fun part, which is changing the oil filter. So get your some jack stands, make sure you're on a nice level surface, and always have a spotter if you can. And we need to get the oil filter, which is hiding down in there. So right above the header on the passenger side, but in order to remove this, we actually need to go from the underside. So there really is no good place for me to show you how to do this and where it's from, but you'll essentially just have to go kind of from the inside, from like the center, on the left-hand side of this header right here, from the front, and go ahead and unscrew it. The thing that I learned is that make sure you guys only do it hand tight, nice and snug. Don't throw an oil filter wrench on this and just tighten it to who knows what, just because it's just going to make it that much more difficult to take it out when you have to change it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get to it. So it looks like we had to use the old, take a crappy screwdriver and hammer it through the side and twist it off. You know, I didn't think I had tightened it that tight last year. I mean, seeing as though I know not to tighten things overly tight, I try to keep it hand tight. But regardless, we didn't damage the threads or anything like that, so we should be good. We'll go ahead and get the new oil filter, put a thin bead of oil on the new rubber gasket, and go ahead and screw this guy on. So we got our new filter, we got our new oil. You can use the old oil as well, but I just figured I got the new stuff. So what we're actually going to want to do, because this guy gets screwed on upwards like that, in order to give our first start the best chance that it has, we're going to go ahead and pour some oil into the filter itself, as full as we can get it. That way when we go to do our first start, let's grab some oil, get it around the ring. When we go to do our first start, there's some oil in the system, that way we don't run the risk of starving it for oil for the first couple seconds. So go ahead and get this guy installed. So what you guys will notice is that there's a lot of oil down there that spilled over from when we took our filter off. That's on our header pipe, and we're going to want to clean up as much of that as we can. When we do our first start, you will notice that there will be a little bit of white smoke, and that's just coming from the oil burning off of the exhaust. So we have our filter full and ready to go. We will install it first, get it started from the top side over here, and then finish the tightening from the bottom. So we got our filter down in there, nice and hand tight. Don't want to make the same mistake as the previous year. We cleaned up as much of the oil as we could, but some of that's just going to have to get burnt off. And we took off our breather. Let's go ahead and get some fresh oil in. And I'm not skilled enough to go without a funnel. I've already made enough of a mess, so I'll go ahead and put that in there. And like I mentioned, we're going to need about 5.5 quarts roughly. So with the new oil in, we can go ahead and recycle the old stuff. Overall dark, but I'm not seeing any metal flakes, which is my #1 fear. And now for my favorite part, the post-oil change startup and quick lap around the block. See how she goes. Post-oil change startup and test drive was good. We got no leaks. So now let's take care of these wheels. So what we'll do is we'll use our Chemical Guys wheel cleaner and go ahead and take care of these guys. So we'll do before and after. So just did a quick clean. Better than having brake dust on all winter. So we got that guy down. Now let's actually get to the actual body of the car. So for that, we will be using our Chemical Guys Waterless Wash, and I'll show you how that works. So I don't know how well this is going to show up on camera because I know it's kind of sunny outside, but for an area of the car with just a little bit of dust, we'll use some Swift Wipe Waterless Wash. Go ahead, give that guy a little shake, and you're just going to want to get the area nice and wet. Making sure that we are lubricating the surface and making sure that all of the dirt gets encapsulated. So give it a second, let it soak in, and then what we're going to want to do is when we wipe, we're going to want to go up like that, so that way our leading edge of where we're cleaning is always changing along the surface. So start here. Like that. And you can see kind of that stripe of gunk that we had. So flip it over, do another edge, and just like that. And you'll repeat that process until you get the whole car nice and dry. So I'll go ahead and do that and show you guys the end result. This exercise is also great just because when you clean your car off, you can easily see where you have some scratches and swirl marks that you need to buff out come springtime. So I don't know about you guys, but even for my daily drivers, once we hit the nice weather of spring here in the Midwest, and I can go back to doing like the proper 2-bucket method car washes and everything's not so freezing, I like to get my cars and detail them and just make sure that they're looking their best for the summertime and the nice weather. So I've noted a couple spots down, especially in the black, where we do have a little bit of scratches and swirls. Nothing too major that we can't get out with the polisher, but the gray is nice and metallic, so luckily it hides some of those imperfections a little bit better. So we got our wheels cleaned, exterior cleaned. We'll go ahead to the interior, vacuum everything out, and clean everything up. So we'll go from this to this. So we got the interior nice and cleaned up. So let's go ahead and get her parked in the garage. So now we got the car in the garage and we will work on getting the battery out. So we need to take off this bracing first. So lefty loosey, righty tighty. This is a 1/2-inch bolt. Go ahead and loosen it up. Loosen this one up here too. This way we can take this guy out. And tilt this guy back. Sorry guys, I don't know what happened to the film there. I guess it decided it just wanted to stop filming, but we have both of our terminals disconnected right here, and the last thing we need to do is undo this bolt that holds the clamp in place, holding our battery into our battery tray. So we'll go ahead and get to it. So we went ahead, got that guy out, and now we can just slide the battery out. So battery's out, we got the cover on, and that covers pretty much everything that we're going to do for today. The leaves are still falling, and in order to get my lawnmower out, you can see back there, I need to each time pull the Firebird out, take the lawnmower out, and then when I'm done, put everything back in. So once I do the final lawn cut of the season, and I get the John Deere winterized, then I will go ahead and put the car on stands and rotate the tires as well while I'm at it and make sure they're filled up to a nice PSI. So that way, come springtime, we're ready to just turn the key and be on our way. So that'll about do it today, guys. If you own a classic car, let me know what your winterization prep is in the comments down below. I might have missed some stuff. I'm also new to the classic car ownership world, so always eager to learn. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are. And until the next time, we'll catch you later.